Hi, I'm Sampa and
Hi, I'm Priyanshi Naik and welcome to FinTalk. So guys, welcome back to our channel. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to conduct a personal SWOT analysis so as to help you recognize your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats.
So for this episode, you might want to get a pen and a paper and we'll be with you right after the break. Welcome back. Hope you got those pens and papers because this is actually quite a detailed episode that we're going to have on how to conduct a personal SWOT analysis. So what is a SWOT analysis?
What is a SWOT analysis? So SWOT analysis is basically a self-assessment of your strengths, like we said earlier, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And the reason this is important, in fact, a lot of businesses even conduct this just to see how the business is in progress, but we want to do this on a personal level. We want to do this on ourselves, and we would like you to do it on yourself too, just so that you know where you're headed or how you can plan your career, or even if you're running a business, how can you plan that. So that's why we're going to talk about that and the importance of it in this episode.
Yes, and leveraging on your strengths and mitigating your weaknesses as much as possible so that you can give yourself the best and biggest advantage towards achieving your goals, whether it's personal or in your business. And then the opportunities, there's so many opportunities around us, but if you don't take it down, you will miss it because poor means passing on opportunities repeatedly. So you find that because you're not writing it down, constantly you're missing it and you're missing it and you're missing it.
Or
and then you look at
not researching. Let's say, for example, like Sampa said, you don't know what your opportunities are. So how do you know what you're applying for, where you're headed? Like, let's just take a scenario of somebody that's, let's say you're 25, you've just graduated from university, for example, and you've majored in finance. Because this is FinTalk.
Yes.
So that's our scenario. So let's start. Okay. Now, for example, we have a 25-year-old just majored in finance and has just graduated university. How does this person know how to just go into life and just start life right after university, right? And like Sampa said, this is where it comes up. If you don't know what your opportunities, if you're not seeking for opportunities, you're not listing them down. You're not even going to know where to get a head start.
And identifying your competitors as threats, because those are your biggest threats, are your competitors. What added education do they have? Like you just said, you've just graduated and you're an accountant, and then you come to Zambia, maybe you're studying abroad and you realize that in Zambia you have to be Zika registered to practice here. So you find that all your friends are Zika registered and you're wondering why you're not finding a job. It's because you haven't taken the next necessary step to be compliant.
Exactly. So for example, in this scenario, we're talking about the SWOT analysis. How do we begin? So we begin from the first. So SWOT is SWOT. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we'll start with the strengths. Okay. For a 25-year-old that's just graduated, let's just throw some ideas in. What are our strengths?
What are our strengths?
Well,
like you can
a degree.
Your degree.
You have a degree.
You have a practical skill. Because accounting is a practical skill. You can work anywhere, basically, as an accountant. Do you have a big network? Because that's a strength.
Yes. If you've just graduated from college, you know that you're already networking with people. I mean, it depends though. Some people are introverts when they're in university, some people are extroverts. I was very much an extrovert. I used to join all these random clubs and stuff just to make friends. So that's a network. That's a network, something you can capitalize on. That can be a strength. Also, like you said, accounting is practical, which means you've worked on softwares, you've worked with different types of softwares. Maybe if you're studying abroad, you've worked on software there. If you're back here, so that's also a strength. And then what about the period? What if in between your years in university and summer break and you had an internship somewhere? That's definitely a strength because that internship shows that you've had some sort of practical experience in what you're doing. You're not just coming with a theoretical knowledge. You have some practical knowledge as well. So that can be a strength.
It could. And then also you could also say what if this person is good at using their hands?
Yeah.
Because the strength is about you as an individual. You as an individual. What if maybe you're a makeup artist? Maybe you're this, maybe you're this. So it all feeds into who you are. So maybe let's say you come back to Zambia and there's no jobs. What other strengths do you have that you can have as a side hustle, you know, to supplement your income?
Exactly.
Because in this day and age, it's not enough to have one thing.
You could even have a hobby, for example, you know, like, okay, baking cakes or something, and you say like, okay, while you're looking, we know job searches are not easy. You can start looking for a job tomorrow, probably only land on a proper job like after 6 months. But what is it that you're going to do within these 6 months? Write down certain things.
Maybe you did a short course, like you were saying, whilst you're at university. You learned how to bake cakes. That's a strength.
Maybe you did something on campus. You joined one of those clubs, maybe a baking class. That's the strength. Put it down so we can be like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll just start with my family and friends. And we start baking cakes, and you know what? I'll be making some sort of small income while I land on a proper job. That's a strength, because now at least you're kind of, in a way, financially securing yourself.
Yes,
not probably to what you want, but something's better than nothing.
Yes, it is. And it's always better to always have other streams of income.
Yes, multiple streams of income is very important.
It's important.
Yeah.
And your side hustles can help you with that. So what other strengths do you have as an individual that can help you as an accountant graduate? Are you just an accountant graduate, or do you have skills? I know a lot of ladies know how to braid hair, know how to do makeup, they know how to... So you find that, yes, you have a degree, but what do you have as an addition to yourself?
Yeah. And remember, guys, when you're conducting a SWOT analysis on yourself, you're not in an interview.
No.
So your answers don't have to be perfect. And your answers also don't have to be very scripted, in the sense that, okay, my strength is I'm good at time management. Yes, you're good at time management, but how can you use that to capitalize on yourself? If you're good at time management, then you write down, okay, I'm good at time management. You don't just leave it at time management. You say, well, I think I can do 2 things in a day or 3 things in a day. Maybe you're a farmer. Maybe you have a vegetable garden in your back. You know what? I'm good at time management. I'll spend this many hours doing this many hours doing that, and the rest of my hours looking for a job. So when you put your strength down, go as deep and as detailed into it as possible, rather than just writing, oh, I'm good at time management. Because guys, even in interviews, when you go and they ask you, what are your strengths, and you're like, time management is my strength, but then they'll be like, well, how do you use that in your work? We want a practical example of it, not just, because these are just things people can just list and name and whatnot, but you need to know how that's going to help you. You can write it as a strength, but how exactly is it helping you is what you need to go deeper down. So take your time. This is not something you need to just complete in a day. You know, we all wake up different every day. Sometimes I'll wake up and I'll be like, okay, you know what? I think I'm getting better at this. Well, then that's going into my strength. Like, I'm getting better at that. I'm getting better at
because you're gaining a good habit.
Yeah, you're gaining a habit. I'm getting better at completing my things on time. Then, well, let's add that to that. So there's a lot of things that can go under your strengths. Again, just try to be as detailed as you can, because that's what's going to help you now figure out the rest of the SWOT analysis.
And I feel that when you're putting down your strengths, it should also be smart. It should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Because it's not enough to just say, oh, I can do this. Like, you can do this and then. So you end up having a strength, which then now is a weakness, because you end up spending most of your time on something that you feel you do to the best of your abilities, but it's not bringing you anything in return.
So, and that's why it's important that when you do list and run down, try to dig deeper, find out why that is your strength and how you're going to use it towards your progression.
So that was on strength. So in a nutshell, what your strengths are something that your competitive advantage. What is it about you that makes you uniquely you? What is it about you that differentiates you from Jane, from Barbara, from all your friends? What is it about you why should I pick you? Why should you pick yourself? What is it about you that makes you profitable? Because unique, because as human beings, everybody wants to be associated to somebody who is providing, they know themselves, they're comfortable with themselves, and they're able to then help somebody else. You can't help somebody else if you're not full in yourself.
Yeah. What makes you stand out? If you're in an interview today, we are interviewing you. That's the first thing we'll ask you. Like, what makes you different?
Why you?
That's why you have your SWOT analysis. That's why you have your strengths. Anytime you're in an interview, you already know. You just be like, okay, well, I already know what, and then you just talk about your strengths and you give your practical examples of it. Exactly. Otherwise, it's like, you just Googled it.
Exactly.
Right? That's what interviewers will think. Like, you just Googled it. So, So, guys, that was pretty much what we wanted to speak to you guys about, strengths.
Your strengths, yeah. So maybe we can go on a break and we'll be with you shortly. Okay, so welcome back. Now we're going to dive into
weaknesses. Before we left for the break, we had mentioned we're talking about the SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We already talked about strengths and how you can perform this analysis on yourself, and now we're going to move on to weaknesses.
Yeah. So what is a weakness?
Yes.
What's my weakness?
Right? So in the beginning of the show, we gave you guys a scenario, like, let's, for example, have a scenario of a 25-year-old that has just graduated from university and has majored in finance. Like, that's the person we're conducting a SWOT analysis on. So let's start with weaknesses. What are your weaknesses? So over here, like, I think Sampa mentioned this already in the beginning of the episode, but be honest. Do not lie. If you're somebody that's always late, write it down. I'm never on time somewhere. Which means because your weaknesses are something you need to work on. You need to eliminate your weaknesses. That's why we do a SWOT analysis on this and on yourself and to figure out your weaknesses. So let's see. Okay.
What makes me late? Then you can identify it to say, okay, my weakness is that I'm always late. Yeah. So what makes you late?
What makes you late? Maybe you're somebody that likes to stay up till late and then, can't wake up in the morning.
Sleep in the morning.
Yeah, people like that. University does that to you. You're up late doing your assignments and then you can't wake up in the morning for whatever reason. But then if you've listed that down as your weakness, you need to know how to change it, because when you get a job, your bosses aren't going to accept that excuse why you're always late. You can make all the excuses in the world. Oh, the bus schedule, there was traffic, this and that. But sooner or later, that's going to show up as tardiness.
And disorganization.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's something that you'd want to work on. And then another weakness for this 25-year-old can be, let's say, what do you think? Maybe there's no experience. Maybe you don't have any internship experience.
Yes, that can be another weakness. However, also when you're dealing with your weaknesses, you need to identify what your weakness is and then find a way of developing habits that help you to eliminate this weakness.
Exactly, to come out of it. Because, the whole point of weaknesses is not just to keep listing them. It's to take them off your list one by one.
How do you take it off? Like we had earlier mentioned to say, let's say you're always late. Why don't you decide to start preparing your clothes the night before? If you're in the morning, you have to iron and the like, it will make you late. So prepare your clothes the night before. Some people prepare their clothes a week in advance.
So she said, create a habit. And the thing with habits is it takes time.
It does.
The sooner you start, the better.
It takes 21 days actually. 21 days to form a habit. 21 days to form a habit. So just for 21 days, prepare your clothes in advance. Make sure they're ironed, make sure your shoes are polished. So that in the morning when you wake up, that's something that's eliminated from your list of to-dos in the morning. And you know that, okay, this is going to eliminate 15 minutes. So 15 minutes you have to get ready and be at your job on time. You can be the best person at what you do, but if you're always late, that's going to turn up as disorganization.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're ever in a job interview, I've heard this a lot, where people say, my weaknesses are my strengths. Guys, don't ever say that. Your weaknesses are not your strengths. If you have a weakness, you're better off being honest but always say, I'm working on it through this.
Yes.
You know, that's how you answer a question in an interview when you're being asked, what's your weakness? You can say, well, you know what, I'm very tardy. I'm not always on time, but I've been working on it for the past few days. I've been planning my days out in advance, and I've been pretty much on time where I've needed to be. That's how you answer that. You don't say, my weakness is also my strength.
Yeah.
No.
Another weakness that you might have is where you're absent-minded, or you don't write things down. You're forgetful. I think that's the word more than absent-minded. You're forgetful. So get a diary and write it down. You know,
even your phones have planners. Use your phone. Use your reminders. Phone. Google reminders. There's so many like cool apps that you can download.
That you can just put notes. You
can even color code your notes.
Yeah.
If you're that visual person where you remember if it's like, if there's an emoji over there, or it's color coded. But use all these resources that are available to you.
Yeah.
A diary. Use your phone planner. Use your Google Calendar. Set reminders for yourself if that's one of your weaknesses.
Yeah, and then you go from being a forgetful person to someone who can be relied on to say, oh no, go to Jane. Jane will be able to tell you what happened on the 21st of this date. Why? Because now you're using your apps and you look smarter.
You have a record of everything.
Yes, it helps you. So you become like a go-to person other than being that forgetful person.
And earlier we talked about digging deeper. Whenever you're writing your strengths and your weaknesses down, you don't just say, this is my weakness, I'm tardy. No, you dig deeper into why you're tardy. Sometimes maybe you just have too much on your plate. So it's not that you're really being forgetful, but you have too much that you can't balance everything
and
out.
juggle,
But if you have a planner and you plan it out, then there you go. You might even just get rid of that forgetfulness way sooner than you think you would.
And then you just cancel. You say, okay, my to-do list, this is what I set myself out to do. I've done these things, and here you are.
Yeah.
Like you'll be surprised you can even get a promotion because you're someone who now is reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's see, what are some other common weaknesses I've heard of? Oh, I've heard of I'm a perfectionist.
Oh, yes.
Some people say that, so when I was talking about my strengths, my weaknesses are also my strengths. I've heard somebody say I'm a perfectionist. This is my weakness, but it's also a strength. And they explain saying in the way that it's my weakness because I take too much time in completing a task, but it's also my strength because I get things done like very specifically and, precisely.
And that creates inefficiency because let's say you had a project that was due the day before.
Exactly.
And then you hand it in the day after. It can be as perfect with underline and
doesn't matter.
You've
passed the
deadline. Yeah.
So don't ever categorize saying that my weakness is my strength and all of that. No.
Yeah, just be honest.
You're a perfectionist. Being a perfectionist can still be a weakness.
Yeah.
It's a positive weakness, but it's still a weakness in the sense that if you don't get things done on time, you miss deadlines. In today's time, deadlines are so important because it's so competitive out there. Even on job search websites these days, it clearly states that any application after this date will not be considered, meaning they won't even open your email to take a look at it.
That brings me to something very important. Following instructions.
Yeah.
Some people are really horrid. I'm sorry to use this word, but it personally affects me because when I'm doing a job search and I say, send me a message only, and you call me, immediately you're off my list because it means that you have not read what is required and you've breached it by thinking that you can get a faster response from me by calling me. Follow the instructions.
Yeah, they're there for a reason.
Yeah, read.
They're there for a reason.
They are there for a reason. Read and send a message. If it says send a message, send a message. It will be read, and once it's read, it will be returned with a response. If it's not returned with a response, you can follow up once. And then if someone tells you, oh no, we chose an alternative person, that's still fine. It means you didn't fit the brief.
Yeah.
Because there's some people who you tell them, no, we've chosen an alternative, and they keep calling you, and it becomes where it's like, no.
Yeah.
So there's a very big difference between not following instructions and following instructions, basically. Yeah, as simple as that. Yeah.
Again, that goes back to, okay, this person is tardy because you didn't read everything that's said, meaning you weren't paying attention to detail.
And why would I want to hire someone who doesn't read the full context of what is required?
Paying attention to details is actually a strength for many people. Yeah. So there you've already kind of eliminated, somebody has already surpassed you on that part because they've read the instructions, they've followed everything, they've applied correctly, and here you are probably still waiting for some interviewer to call you, but because you didn't follow the instruction, you've pretty much just lost your chance. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of weaknesses, earlier we talked about, okay, for example, let's say you don't have any internship experience on your CV. That can be a weakness because you find your friends have, every holiday they got between their college years, they were there working somewhere, doing this, doing that. Well, that's going to bring us to our next point. We are going on to opportunities now. So again, SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. We're going to opportunities. So you, for example, again, you're a college student, you have no internship experience, you put that as a weakness. Now, let's connect that to opportunities. You don't have internship experience, that's okay. It's not the end of the world, guys. It's not the end of the world. Let's seek out opportunities and see how you can start. You don't have internship experience? Okay, then let's start researching. Let's look for an internship. Instead of you searching for a job, it might be easier for you to start with an internship first.
Yes, I've actually read somewhere, interesting fact, is someone went to this billionaire in the US and they were like, no, I follow you and this is what it is and I'm okay with just being a T-boy. Those ones that push the cards and they give mail in the room. So he was like, no, we're actually looking for someone like that. So I don't mind not being paid and this and this. And so he got the job. And then there was, I think, a day when something needed to be, he was an IT technician. Okay. There was a day that something needed to be fixed. And then they had to then they were about to outsource it. And the only people that knew how to do it, had that particular skill,
was the same T-boy?
No, we're charging thousands of dollars. And that T-boy, was equipped with that particular skill and saved them thousands of dollars. With that particular skill that he had. And they said, no, but why didn't you say that because this is what we look at. We need our website to always be up. We need this, we need crashes, we need to do this. And he said, no, I can. And guess what? He got a job. So, sometimes it's okay to enter something through opportunities like that and lower yourself. You can't go, you're seeking opportunities and you want to say, but you're a small company, how much will you manage to pay me? Immediately you tell me that, yes, maybe it's been in operation for maybe 2-3 years.
Exactly.
But don't ever tell somebody you have more to, insult the person who you want to work for as a way to put yourself to look better. So many people do that. It's insane.
You can be a PhD holder. But then again, you see, when you're trying to build a career profile, it's not just about your education. It's also your experience. There has to be a balance between the two. And we're taking a scenario of somebody that has just graduated from college and is seeking for a job now. Maybe there might be more opportunities for you if you're seeking for an internship. And then climb up from there. See, this is why it's important for you to do your research. Find out. And when I say research, it's not only Google. Yeah, of course, you do your research online, but talk to your networks. Talk to your parents. Talk to people maybe in your parents' office. Talk to people, your colleagues. Talk
your
to people,
peers.
Your peers. There's so many that's how you actually can get references. I know somebody who just has a startup and they might be looking for an intern. Okay, there you go. This is not even something you maybe they've posted online, maybe they're just recruiting word of mouth type of thing. But when you talk to people, that's there's some opportunities can come out from that. So another opportunity that you can probably add to your SWOT analysis could be just doing research on your industry trends. So again, let's say our scenario, 25-year-old, straight out of college in the finance, accounting industry. You find a lot of companies are looking for people that are proficient with certain softwares, like we had said. That's an opportunity. If you are taught certain software in school, in college, you know how to use it, you're basically competition to somebody that got the accounting degree 5 years ago and didn't have the opportunity to learn. I mean, with all these technological advances that are going on. Yeah. So that's an opportunity now. In fact, you've turned that opportunity into like you've become
a strength. Yeah.
So again, your opportunity can become your strength.
Yeah.
And it's not always necessary that we have to look for a full-time job. I mean, if you look at look at the economy right now, how things are going. Look for opportunities for part-time. Look for opportunities for consultancy. You find some jobs are just hiring. They don't have companies don't have the means to hire somebody full-time.
Yeah.
But would call you every time they have a problem.
Yes.
Maybe they want to call you just to file their tax returns or something.
Right.
You can do it as a consultant.
You can be a consultant, yes.
Exactly. So
tax consultant.
Yeah, consultancy is an opportunity, part-time is an opportunity, internship is an opportunity. Do your research on your industry that you work in. If, for example, even if you're an accountant, to be specific, don't just look for accounting opportunities. Try to look for other finance or economic related opportunities.
Yes, that can be like an add-on to your particular field or degree.
And then there you go. You're building your CV back, connecting all this to your strengths. You're connecting to your weakness wherever you had put in your weakness that you don't have internship experience, but these consultancy, part-time, whatever little jobs that you're doing, they're building your portfolio.
They are.
So that's why it's so important to seek out opportunities. And sometimes people are scared to like, hey, I studied accounts, I should be in the finance industry and that's where I belong. No, be diverse if you can.
Yes.
If somebody else is hiring you, maybe you're doing business management, do it. Because even though you're an accountant or a finance specialist or whatever you are, you still need business management experience.
Yes, you find that someone is looking for a business development manager.
Yeah.
And the fact that you also have accounting background,
and
the business experience, it's like, ish. They're marketable, those are strengths. Yeah.
You've built your portfolio, you've already started building it, and then it only keeps growing from there.
Yeah.
All again, guys, depends on how you recognize your opportunities. And that's why it's so important to do your research, to talk to people, and just take a note of industry trends. If you have to read news, if you have to listen to radio to know what's happening in the industry, do it. Speak to people.
Keep up with current affairs. Basically, that's also an opportunity because you find that in an interview and they ask you something which was in the newspaper yesterday and you look like dumbfounded, like, what are you talking about?
Sorry, I don't know what I'm
already, you may have lost a point to somebody that knows the answer to that particular question. So just know what's happening in a particular industry. It's very important because that could actually then become a strength. Now, also, if you don't seize the opportunities, those opportunities can become a threat.
Exactly. So now, moving on to threats, which we had talked about. SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Like Sampa said, if you don't seek out your opportunities correctly, they can turn into a threat because now your competitors have come into the picture.
Into the market,
That's a threat.
It can create redundancies.
Yeah.
Your competitors will come with more skills because these days at universities, I don't know what they're teaching them. It's like they're on steroids or something. But it's like they're teaching them, they come out of university and they're well equipped.
I know how to use this software, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. That's already a threat to you because now you're missing. Okay, doesn't mean...
They teach public speaking. Their presentations are like way more than we were doing at school. You find that you have to stand in front of an auditorium and speak to everybody. And that is a skill you're learning, how to speak in public.
Speak in public, speaking in interviews, speaking with clients, all of that, And again, don't be demoralized. Like, when you write your threats down, we don't want you to be demoralized. We want your threats to motivate you. Right? You've seen that, okay, I have a colleague who's done the same course I did, done whatever, but my colleague, she knows a little bit more than I do. Maybe because of her previous experience wherever she is. Okay, what can I do to also make myself competitive? You don't have to do the exact same things you do, but if you've researched on your opportunities, you've researched on your industry trends, you know exactly what to do. If you have to take an extra course to learn a software, you might as well do it. And these days you need to understand not everything is, you don't have to pay for each course. If you actually go online and just Google Coursera. Coursera is a website where you get a lot of courses for free.
Yeah.
So you can do it. So how it works is you can take a course. It may be like 3-week course or something. And then in the end, if you want a certificate, then you pay a certain amount for the certificate. But if you want to just teach yourself, then you just take the course and it's free.
We'll put the link down below in the comment section.
Yes.
Just so that you know which link to click on to go to. What did you call it?
Coursera. Coursera. So again, when you have your threats written down and your opportunities, you kind of know how to, they interlink in a lot of ways. So you know how to approach that, how to tackle your threats.
And change your threats and turn it around, make it an opportunity, which in turn then becomes a strength. Yeah. So that was it for today's episode on the SWOT analysis. I don't know, Pree, you can just add.
Yeah, so just to sum up everything we've talked about, guys, the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, they're all interlinked. And once you have everything written down, it's on a piece of paper, and you can actually cross-link things, and it will really help. Draw it out. Don't keep it in your head.
Yes.
Get a big piece of paper, get different colorful markers, and start listing and writing down things, and start interlinking, connecting, and eliminating
your weaknesses,
growing your strengths, eliminating your weaknesses, creating opportunities. And remember, this is for personal growth, personal and professional growth. It's for career development. We live in a competitive world right now. Jobs are difficult to find. Do this. It will help you. It will help you, like Sampa said earlier, figure out why you are unique.
Yes.
And again, I think we were talking about this earlier. It's so important to get advice from your peers.
Yes, it's
really
very
important. Especially for somebody that's, a friend or somebody that's going to be honest with you.
Yeah, someone you trust.
Yeah, someone you trust. Like, I can go to Sampa and she'll be like, Pree, this does not sound right. Please don't, rethink this. And that's all I need. I just need her to tell me, no, I think you should rethink this.
Yes.
It doesn't seem, and then I'll look at it over and over and I realize, okay, you know what, I could have been making a mistake.
Yeah.
So, try to get some advice from your peers. Ask them what your weakness is. Ask them. They'll probably tell you the truth more than you tell yourself.
Absolutely.
For me, I think I'm always on time. But if I have to ask my husband, he'll be like, no, honey, you're not always on time.
Oh, ask me.
Definitely no.
Ask me.
See, so this is why it's important to get advice from your peers. They'll give you honest opinions, and don't be offended when they tell you the truth.
Yes, don't. So you can subscribe. If you like our content, please subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can share with your peers.
Just talk to us. What do you want us to talk about? We'll talk about it. What do you want? We talked about being like peers earlier. We can be your peers. You can be our peers. So yes, like Sampa said, like, share, subscribe, leave comments. We're here to bring content to you every day. So Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Bye.